Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans for fans. We're back after what seems like a second mini break after the US Grand Prix, 3 weeks off. These long breaks are really doing my head in. Tristan, how are you, mate?
Hello, mate. Welcome back.
Good to enjoy a US Grand Prix.
Yeah, it was great. Just a real sort of... It's a bit of a weird vibe, isn't it? Because we were up and about. We were getting ready for the last portion of the season. Then we've had just what felt like an unnecessary break.
A second time round.
And then I feel like...
Because we had that long break before the last few races.
It's sort of... Oh, geez, we're back. We're racing again.
It's a real stop-start, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's sort of thrown me a little bit this week. So anyway, we'll manage because we are professionals.
Absolutely. Just quickly on this, I mean, we seem to be getting into the episode very quickly,
but
you lose a little bit of momentum. Do you not feel with this?
I feel very out of form.
For what is a great season,
yeah,
it feels like momentum's been lost. I think F1 have probably missed a beat on this one. I think scheduling has not gone their way. I understand why they're running they're running into a pretty heavy schedule from here.
I get that. I feel like even news, I'm still catching up on the news that we've had dropped. But then already, because we're heading off to Mexico, I've already started to get new news in my news feed. I still haven't even wrapped my head around the bib sort of episode from Red Bull that come out. There's just, we'll talk about it, I'm sure, just loosely on the episode this week. But I feel really unknowledgeable this week.
You're out of form. You forgot to put up. You forgot to put up a Fan Frenzy post.
I forgot Fan Frenzy. I haven't done F1.5.
Apologies to people.
We're gonna work our way through. We're just gonna stumble our way through the episode this week.
Oh, is it gonna be one of those ones? Is it?
That's the vibe I'm getting this week. We're just gonna
let me get you back on track.
We're just gonna crawl our way through, and at the end, I feel like we'll end well.
Give me a race ranking.
A 7.
Okay.
A 7.
Yeah.
Because I hate the time. I really do.
So, just for those playing around the world, when the US Grand Prix is on, we watch it at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, yuck.
Which is an hour too late. 5 o'clock is my optimum watching time.
That's
9 o'clock's my optimum watching time.
Yep,
5 o'clock is in the morning is my second favourite because it's breakfast. You're uninterrupted with a household of people. But yeah, 6 a.m., you've got to make some decisions. And I was a little out of form. I'll be ready to go for the next one. But you've actually got to shower before the Grand Prix because I like to leave for work at 8, which doesn't leave a lot of time if the Grand Prix runs long.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah. But anyway.
I think I watched, how did I sort of tackle it? I went Monday night for a watch. So I was up early enough.
Didn't get up?
No, I did, but then my little man's getting ready for daycare and he's up, so the quiet time to watch it and absorb it is non-existent. So I reckon I got through the first 5 laps. We like watching Charles, and then that was it. We were getting ready. So, and I thought, I'll park all social media for the day and I'll watch it after tea, which was pretty successful, to be quite honest.
I think 7's a good score. I nearly give it a 7.5. I quite enjoyed it. There were elements that were a little bit pedestrian, but no, I thought it was pretty decent. Tell me, this is a question we used to like asking a lot at this point of the podcast. Who has the pace?
Oh, jeez. Ferrari?
It's a week-by-week proposition.
It's a week-by-week. Yeah, it is. It is a week-by-week.
Which is a nice thing to say.
Yeah.
It was nearly Red Bull again at one stage.
Yeah.
I thought Red Bull might have found their mojo after the sprint race.
Yeah.
Thought, oh, hello. A max Red Bull might be the fastest thing on the track again, but no, Ferrari sort of turned that around. But it seems like Ferrari this week. I don't think it'll be Ferrari next week, but it bodes well for where we're going with Formula One next season.
Yeah.
It worries me that we're still moving these regulations on, though, isn't it? Considering we've hit this nice sweet spot where you're not sure who's going to win a race out of 5 drivers, maybe 6
absolutely.
on a good day.
Absolutely. You just you have no idea, do you? I don't think... I mean, Ferrari looked good. I certainly didn't expect Charles to take the lead as quickly what he did, and he just disappeared, didn't he? He was off, and he was untouchable.
Unseen,
unheard of. And we were like,
poor old Ferrari. They were hoping for probably some.
But then at 1-2, they were pretty unspectacular. I mean, practice one was great. They were 1-2 in practice one, but after a quick 30-minute splash and dash, you wouldn't think that would instantly set the tone for the weekend. And then out of nowhere, to our surprise, it did. But you're right. I mean, there was 4 in it, and then you don't know who's got the pace. So suddenly, Red Bull are alive again.
Yep.
Where Max is qualifying for a sprint, and then he wins, and then we're like, hang on.
And McLaren is supposed to be the fastest team of the lot.
And suddenly this week they're not. They were third.
Yeah.
I feel like Mercedes is the one that's sort of holding water at the moment. Like they're just consistently fourth. They're the ones that you could be more confident in locking into fourth than anyone else.
But yet, both drivers have won a race this season. And that's the beauty of this season.
I know.
Yeah. It's amazing we don't have more of a driver's title fight on our hands at the moment. Like, I know it's on, but it's not really on. We've said that all the way along. Like, yeah, it's possible, but it's not on. And it surprises me, given that what a topsy-turvy season we've had.
Yeah.
From probably about the first third of the season was all Red Bull, and then since then it's just been on. So yeah, it goes to show how good Max did in that first time. When we talk about all the time, we're like, you got to make hay while the sun is shining.
I think so too.
Yep. All the goodies tonight. Opening question though. This comes from our mate Shane.
Sure.
Shane asks, "What's the latest thing you've won, Tristan?"
What's the latest thing I've won? Nothing. I don't win anything. I think I see where it's going with that loaded question.
That's a bit sad.
What's the latest thing I won? I even got like a scratching win.
There you go.
Getting petrol tonight. No, I didn't win.
Oh.
I was just saying I didn't win. I don't win anything.
Okay.
It's just sort of...
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of the last thing we won. I won a Big Mac the other day on the Monopoly thing.
Did you?
Oh, actually, yeah, last weekend Shane and I won the Victorian State Championship in HPV racing in junior category.
That's excellent.
Took home the win on the weekend in the state championship. So
nice.
Yeah, thanks. Good question, Shane.
Good question, Shane. Thank you, mate. Great work.
He's always looking out for you,
Shane. Just terrible. Just terrible. Not having that.
Let's hit the big topic.
All right, we've got a big topic, have we?
Yeah, let's hit the big topic.
All right.
Let's talk Max and Norris. This is what it's been suggested that we should hit some big topics early on rather than going through it. Yeah.
Okay. Just shaking it up.
We're going to go and hit the big topic. Right.
Okay.
So Max and Norris into the corner with, I don't know what it was, 8 laps to go or something like that, maybe more. What was your thoughts on the incident? For those people who didn't see it, Norris had been trying to overtake Max in the lead up for I don't know, he chased him down and maybe was taking 6 laps, 7 laps to go and overtake him. Might have been more.
Yep.
And Max was doing a brilliant job of defending Norris, who was in a slightly faster car.
Yep.
Wasn't clearly faster, but was faster.
Yeah.
And then when the big crunch came, it was Norris tried to get around the outside. Finally got in front of Max.
Yep.
But Max ran wide off the track and Norris ran wide off the track more. And then Norris got the lead in this incident.
Yep.
And then was given a 5-second penalty.
So I watched this over and over again. Watched a lot of it looking at the entry into the Apex as well.
Yep.
My general summary of it is this. Max and Lando were pretty much neck and neck at the Apex. But then Max had the inside line. And while Lando went off, and Max probably did push him off a little bit, Lando continued and just nudged himself forward enough during that exchange to then re-enter in the lead.
That's what happened, yes.
Now had Max have pushed him wide and then Lando had not continued on and taken the lead, I feel the reprimand would have gone the other way. Because Lando hasn't taken the lead and he's just been pushed wide to lose position. Okay. So that's my summary of it. I think it's the fact that he kept the foot down and continued to take the lead.
All right, my next question then.
Sure.
Did the stewards make the right call?
Yes, because we asked them to be consistent, and while the calls and decisions were different on those wide pushes throughout the weekend, like Russell on Valtteri, Oscar on, I want to say Perez. I'm sorry, I forget.
No, it wasn't Perez.
Escapes me. Someone.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
It might have been Ocon or Gasly, maybe. I don't know. Maybe
Gasly.
Gasly. Yep, Gasly. Sorry. While they were all adjudicated differently, they were all slightly different instances.
They were.
And we asked them to be consistent. So I think we would have been more up in arms had one of those not been called and 2 others being called. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was disappointing. And yes, as Stella said, it ruined a beautiful motorsport moment. But like I said, had he not have kept his foot in it and just backed off, then the penalty would have gone Max for pushing him wide for gaining a spot.
All right, so...
What's your take on it? Give me your rundown.
Just on that, let me ask you, how is Norris supposed to get the overtake done if Max isn't staying on the track? That's my big gripe with it. If you want to... The call was wrong only because Max didn't make the corner as well. Okay, Max has no rights to the apex, has no right to the corner if he doesn't make the corner as well. Because Max runs wide, it's play on for both drivers, in my opinion. Because he didn't allow Norris to make the corner or make the overtake. And so it felt like, well, you want it all one way. And I'm not blaming Max for this at all. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't make the corner, he loses rights to that apex call. Because what happened, well, what the ruling was is Max was actually slightly ahead at the apex, mainly because he was dive bombing slightly.
Yeah.
Which, if that's fine, but you've got to make the corner yourself. And because he didn't make the corner,
I know,
all rights have gone. I honestly think it's both drivers did make the corner. It's play on. Norris, I don't know whether he would have made the corner or not, but there was never that chance given with the way that Max drove. And there was never going to be a way for Norris to make the overtake with the way that Max was driving in that situation, because he was always doing that. And while there were track penalties, which are going to limit the amount of times you can do that, it's just one of those things that it's not right. And for me, the stewards made a mistake only, and I'm with you, I like the consistency, but only because Max didn't make that corner also. Because he didn't make the corner, he loses all of his rights, being the inside driver, being the driver that's slightly at the head at the apex. Like Norris was ahead at the entry of the corner, only just. Max is ahead at the apex, only just. And so, for me, those things sort of go out the window, but because he was pushed wide. For me, the one that annoyed me probably more, and it's annoying me more and more lately, and this business of giving allowances on the first lap. Yeah,
and that's right. We saw instances of that, didn't we?
This can't continue because there's too many smart drivers. Like, Max knows how to use all of the leeway that drivers are given.
Because it's a first lap incident.
As Alonso does.
Oh, the high-class drivers do not say it's lower-class.
That's right. And what Max did there was use that allowance to gain a lead of a race. Yeah. And that can't be allowed to happen.
But he knows full well.
Because he knows he's going to get that allowance. And that can't be allowed to continue to happen either. This business of allowances for first lap incidents is a no-no for me. And that was a clear push wide. Yep. There was absolutely no doubt about it. And the only reason he got past it was because of this. Now, that's all well and good. Now, Paul di Resta, as everyone else has said, we don't talk about these things in Formula One.
Yeah.
If the FIA grow up a set of agates, and force this track to put some gravel in that position, and if they have to pay for it every year to get re-tarmacked for the motorbikes, then do it, because this is Formula One. It is worth so much money.
Yeah.
Cutting out a piece of tarmac is going to be so important for that race.
Yeah.
Because we've had this conversation over and over and over here.
Yeah.
So grow a pair, force the track to make it happen, or threaten to leave, because it's worth so much money.
Yeah.
Even if it costs $1 million, you just do it. And that's just the be-all and end-all of it.
Yeah.
There's just no question about it. And so, they just need to... There needs to be something done so we don't have to have this conversation year in, year out. And as Andreas said, it ruined a beautiful piece of motorsport.
It did, yeah.
And it could have been even better. But and as soon as there's gravel there, then you can enforce the rules of racing room and all those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it was...
Look, it is, and I can see why they don't, because it is a brilliant circuit.
It is, but...
It really is.
But it's doable. Other places have done it.
I know. I mean, I noticed coming out at the...
Austria's done it.
The first sort of straight of that, the back straight, sorry, I noticed the kink in the blue and white line had been really tucked in. Did you notice that on the broadcast?
Yes.
Sort of told me that there was some sort of effort for track limit there, but I don't know. Is it a case of better managing and better monitoring track limits? I don't know. I
No,
don't know.
but because they did it. They monitored it, and it's annoying all the way through, and then we get these weird-ass interpretations of the rules.
Yep.
But yeah, for me, it's the first lap one that really annoyed me, but the other one was wrong as well, because Max didn't make the corner. You make the corner and you get all rights.
Yep. That's fair.
You get all rights as a leader.
That's fair. Maybe they were out of form like we were.
Yeah, possibly.
I don't know. Maybe.
It wasn't great.
Who knows?
Let's talk overall in terms of sprint race weekend. How did you feel it worked at Austin?
Look, I actually thought it felt really good.
You tell you this all the time.
I know.
You're coming around to them a little bit.
I'm not coming around to it. I hate...
Your favourite race format is a standard race format.
Thank you, yes.
My favourite race format is a standard race format as well.
Thank you.
I just don't have a problem with a sprint race here and there.
You know what I'm starting to have a problem with? I'm starting to have a problem with free practice 1 on a sprint weekend.
It's
because I'm like, hang on. It's like we've started, and then
we're into it.
We're into it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, whoa, hang on a second.
I'm not ready.
I'm not ready to start. I need a little bit more practice to understand what's going on. I'm the type of fan that really likes to understand and unpack the weekend. I don't want to be bombarded with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. The best place for a sprint race weekend is in the middle of a triple header.
The best place for a sprint race weekend is a track that actively promotes overtaking, and that's what Austin does. It actively promotes overtaking, so that's why I like it.
And it's not super easy.
It's not super easy, but it's not
doable.
Super difficult. It's
doable.
Yeah. And it's just, you know what? Austin it's a little bit of like the unsung hero of tracks, isn't it? Like, it's a great track. It is I adore everything about it.
I agree.
You know what I really want to know? Just as a side note, I actually want to know the size of those flags, because even the broadcast is picturesque. You know, it's a dramatic scene over the hill. It's the big Lone Star flag. You got a car coming over the top, the sun setting. It's like, yes.
One of the best things about it
is this. It's the unsung hero.
One of the best things about it too is there are lots of places where you can stand
and see it
and see most of the track. Not all, but most of the track.
Absolutely.
And for me, like being a person who's grown up around watching at Albert Park, and it's like being at Monaco, not for the race, but you can only see very small sections at any one time. And I love the idea of being able to stand on a hill and watch those cars go around in lots of different parts of the track.
Yeah.
That sounds like absolute bliss. I could get right behind that.
Yeah, I think so too. It was just, it's a beautiful track, and as I said, I think it's the unsung hero of the calendar.
Yep. We're going to skip through. Anything you want to mention about the sprint race?
Nah, it was pretty alright.
Yeah. Yep.
It was pretty alright.
Let's skip through to the race. We had
qualifying. Let's just quickly mention qualifying.
Hit
because qualifying was the non-event of the weekend, wasn't it?
Well, but it was still quite enjoyable.
Q1 was great. Lewis had his just nightmare moment.
Yep.
Q1. Oscar was hindered. No, Oscar was great in actual proper qualifying, is what I'm referring to. And then when we had Max on a fast lap and it was all going to come to a head and we were going to have a grandstand finish, and then George drops it. And it was like, that'll do.
Yep.
So yeah, it was the non-event of the weekend, but I feel like that it would have added a little bit more to it had we been able to finish that qualifying. But I think what it gave us was that sort of smattering of a mixed grid with both the Hasses in the top 8 in the top 10, as well. The RBs sort of just floating around. The Astons, they're falling asleep, haven't they?
No,
they're falling asleep.
The Dunn and Alonso is shame.
I know, and I'm desperate. I really am. Like, it got to me. In an annoying way, because it's the great man's 400th this weekend.
Oh.
400th this weekend.
Coming, or
it's coming.
just
Mexico.
Oh,
Mexico
okay.
is his 400th.
Right.
So huge weekend ahead. Don't tune in next week if you hate me talking about the great man, because that's all we'll be doing for an hour and a half. But I really am interested to see his stats, which for those listening, Shane told me that the highest percentage, he didn't tell me the exact percentage.
Yeah,
most of the percentage
he has
of his
shown
wins,
me it. There's something like 2/3 of his wins come in the first half of the season,
even in World Championship seasons as well.
Yep, and so it seems like
and then the second half,
he gets about 1/3 of his wins.
Okay, yeah.
So the idea is, Shane's theory is that Alonso can't develop the car quite like other drivers. And so they start really well and they get going really well, and he can drive a tricky car at that point in time, but can't refine it like some of the other drivers can. And yeah, so anyway, it rings true of late. I'll give him that. I don't have the good enough memory to think about the other ones, but yeah, he's gone and done some of the research. The Ferraris in the main race, so what a start from them.
Yep.
Norris tries to block Verstappen into the first corner.
Yep.
Verstappen runs Norris wide. The Ferraris undercut and take advantage of the situation going on there.
Yep.
And off they go and into a 1-2 pretty quickly.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where it was left.
That was sort of it, wasn't it? I mean, we had lots of overtaking and there was action up and down the field, even though we were quite spread out too. We were still sort of treated with a lot of action on track. But like I said at the start of the episode, I don't think we expected Charles to disappear down the road. Perez was a bit of a non-participant again on the weekend. Hey, what did you make of his weekend?
Well, we got a Perez. We're talking about Ferrari.
I know, I'm just saying, like, because it's sort of chalk and cheese. Charles was where did that come from?
Oh, okay.
And then Checo was where is he?
That is Checo.
Yeah, I know.
Checo's the new Zhou, isn't it? Where is Checo? Oh dear. Yeah, that's generally the way it is.
That's very good.
Oh, thank you. I didn't think you were going to take that.
Are you picking up the vibe on the episode? I told you.
Okay, it's loose.
It's good.
But yeah, like Ferrari would be fuming. Be fuming because they got very little coverage.
Yeah,
because they were so far out in front.
That's what happens.
And yeah, it was a real non-event for them.
No upgrades, but the current package is working quite well.
Well, see, no upgrades, but an understanding of the upgrades, I think, is where it's at. So
vital,
I think they went to a point where they were actually taking a few things back off to get a better understanding. They've got that better understanding with a little bit of time off. And, so anyway, it's come together nicely for the Ferraris. Charles is in the driver's hunt.
Yeah, he is in the hunt. I was just looking for the actual discrepancy in the points. So George was officially ruled out on the weekend. Eliminated.
Cannot win.
Official. I think he requires 333, and there are 331 on offer.
Right, okay.
If my maths and memory is correct,
he'd be relying on everybody crashing all the time.
No, even everybody crashing phically, he cannot.
No. But if he was in contention,
So Charles is really right in there. I just think I was really thinking back to Will Buxton's rant on the weekend.
Just to give you a bit of an understanding, Charles is 79 points off. Okay. He's not in it.
So Lando needs to outscore Max by 11.5 points per race from here on in order to scrap home by one.
Yep.
Now, watching the way that Max sort of revitalised and regenerated his sort of season on the weekend, for a better word, it just really got to me in my mind. I was thinking about Will Buxton's rant. And passionate words, for a better choice. And how it was just, what are you doing, McLaren? What are you doing, McLaren? And the hate on Oscar. And the why are you just letting this kid win? And what's going on? But then we saw it again. And Lando has been fabulous this season. But he qualifies on pole, and into turn one, he's fourth. And it's just those little things that have been the difference across the year.
You know my theory.
I know. It's those little things.
You need the year of being in a title hunt to know how to deal with it.
And we saw what Max did because he knows how to push him wide and he knows how to get his elbows out. And like you said, he knows on lap one it's going to be classified as an incident. He knows he can push him wide and he can let him go. He did it with Lewis all in 21. And he has played that game and he knows exactly how it works. And that's the difference. That's that ruthless killer edge that you have.
Absolutely.
That you are on. You're dancing on the knife edge of rules every minute of a weekend, and that's what Max does.
Max is the last person I can think of that won the title hunt in his first attempt at a title hunt. Like when you're actually in it, because Max was actually in it for the first time against Lewis in 21, and he came out on top. I think it turns out probably the Red Bull had the stronger car, and Max's little incidents were down to him sort of getting that steel about him, about knowing how to deal with a title hunt. But there's also something special about Max, where he dealt with it really well. But no one, like, we've seen Charles the year after have a little go, and he fell away in pieces, and where he was in a good car that could have pushed it further. I don't think they ever had it right. And now we've seen Norris. He's within sniffing distance, but there's the little things. I'm with the first lap.
Yeah,
it's also the sprint race. He couldn't, like, there was a chance to extend his lead in the sprint race and didn't get his lap right there. There was the track limits incident towards the end of the race where you just can't afford to be stacking these things up. And so, he's doing. I'm with you. He's doing a good job, but he's not in this title. He's not in this title hunt.
Yeah,
it's just unless something dramatic happens to Max, where he is out of a race, and then there's more. Like, even if he loses 25 points to Norris next race, there's still 29 points to make up.
I know.
And that is a huge amount. Even though we've got some races left, it's still a huge amount, and it's still unlikely. It is. I don't want to put cold water on it. I mean, is it possible? Yep. Are we watching it? Absolutely. Is it likely? Absolutely not.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Max's race was, like you said, it was calculated. He did all the things he needed to do. He banked some points in the sprint race. And then, he played it really cool. He wasn't in quite as fast a car as what Norris was, but his defensive driving was second to none. It was outstanding.
So good. Good.
Yep.
So good.
And even though I don't agree with the way that he went about it, I also didn't love the whole complaint about Norris turning under braking in a dangerous fashion.
Absolutely.
That is Max. Absolutely 101.
Yep.
He does that all the time and was doing it all the time. Maybe it wasn't quite as late as Norris, but it was certainly close to it. And, look, drivers have to stop complaining about that here and there. Like, if people are doing it consistently dangerously, absolutely. But, there was a one incident of it. And, he had been doing it likewise for the laps leading up to that. And it was what it was. Norris, Perez's race, like you said, dropped away. I don't know. It's a strange situation that we've got with Perez and Red Bull. It has single-handedly lost them the Constructors' Championship.
Yep.
And what Red Bull are going to do, who knows? Who knows? I have got a little theory on what's about to unfold, but we'll wait for that one for a little bit further on down the grid. Piastri, being the teammate of Norris, not quite the same race.
No, not at all.
Off the pace a little bit. This is the... We're probably a little hard on Piastri because we watch him a lot. This seems to happen to every driver. One driver's on, one driver's off. That generally does happen across the grid.
Yeah.
We notice it more because we watch Piastri more, but it is probably something he's going to want to get out of his driving soon. Like, this is his second season, let's not forget. He does come across as a really mature driver, but one minute you think he's getting on top of Norris, and then there's a race like this where he's clearly not quite there in terms of consistent pace. Yeah. And so, work to do in terms of understanding that one. But one thing Piastri absolutely does is he goes away and does his homework. And he doesn't generally make the same mistakes twice.
We talked about that, haven't we? Just the way that he really manages and works into a weekend, a session almost now. It's so methodical and calculated too.
After that, we saw, was it George Russell?
Yeah.
From the back of the grid all the way up into 6th position. Was that right?
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that was George Russell?
Last to 6th.
That is...
phenomenal.
That's nearly old school driving where the Ferrari, where the team had an absolute advantage where they can start last and win the race.
I know.
We don't see that as much anymore. We sort of see them sort of stalling about the 10th position because it's just too hard to get through. So
absolutely.
Grand drive from him.
That was great. What about Liam Lawson? Are we going to...
Hang on. Dropping it in qualifying.
Yep. Not
so cool, but both Mercedes did it. It was a weird little thing, wasn't it?
It was. Lewis came out and said today, he's like, I don't usually spin.
No. And he doesn't.
So I'm not quite
He's
sure.
right.
And you're right.
He's right.
When was the last time you could...
Russell does.
Name that he just dropped it?
Yeah. For me, it looked like they just bottomed out on a chicane.
I wonder if it was the strategy of actually having to be on the hards, heavy fuel loads, cool conditions. It was a mix of a place that he's sort of alien to, isn't he?
Yep.
He really is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it was an interesting one. Before we do get to Lawson, Hulkenberg, once again, the Hasses. The Hasses have gone through the season without the proper recognition from us.
We have given them recognition. The media is not. Yeah, we are talking them up week in, week out. We have mentioned religiously about the bravery of the call to get rid of Steiner, the way that they've raced all year. Hulk is the driver of the year by the length of the Flemington Straight. They are.
If I was to tell you the fifth best team this time last year, you would have laughed me out the door.
I know. And now it's suddenly the announcement of the technical partnership with Toyota Gazoo Racing.
Good Lord.
That is just, it's like a sudden awakening. It is that, wow.
Makes sense for them too,
We have been mucking around for years. We sort of started quite well and caught the attention of the F1 world. We've been stuffing around for years, riding on the coattails of personality.
Being pointless. Since we call them
just
pointless.
Just trying to be funny.
Since we label them pointless.
And suddenly, we made a couple of tough calls, and now the realisation that if we want to be here, we've got to start growing up. And it's almost like we've started to grow up as a team. And I adore seeing it. I really do.
Feels like the Toyota. And
I love
that we love this.
Is fantastic.
It suits them so well.
Yeah.
Because they're not glitz and glamour, and Toyota ain't glitz and glamour. It's just getting some jobs done at the moment, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I call them pointless over and over, and I was fuming that they're on the grid, and I felt like they should have sold up to Andretti. And what the hell do I know? Because, they've turned it around. 2 years of solid results, but this year in particular has just been magnificent. Lawson. Let's talk Lawson up.
All right, let's talk Lawson.
So Lawson comes into the weekend, takes a second to get into it.
Yep.
But then from qualifying on, he looks like he's on. And then he has a great race in this car that it's not completely foreign to him.
No.
And I'm not talking about last year's racing. He's been in and out of this car. He's been in the sim all year.
Yep.
And so, there's certainly been chances for him to get up to date with it, but let's not pretend like he's been in it all year. And he's turned it on. And I said to Shane over the weekend, we spent a lot of time together, that's why his name keeps on coming up, but I said to him over the weekend, you watch, if Lawson has a poor result, people are going to be hitting him hard because of the Ricciardo situation. Because he's the most loved man on the grid, Ricciardo, and Lawson's coming into that little bit of a poisonous seat, but the best thing he could have done is had this sort of consistent result, and I am personally thrilled for him. I really am.
I don't know, I'm thrilled. I just think it was a brilliant. I think my emotions have sort of settled after the time away with Dan and the way it's gone.
I didn't want the Dan situation, and in particular my love of Dan, to tarnish of what I thought about Lawson.
No, you're right.
And I felt like I'm one extreme, but then there's other people that are even worse, that they're going to just hate on Lawson because he happened to get Dan's seat. And you can't be like that. And so I'm thrilled that he's managed to get a decent result to stop that from happening straight away. It could still happen, but I'm happy that it stopped it from just falling in on him straight away. I think he deserves a good little go at it for these last few races, even if I would have loved to see Dan stay in there. But it was pretty bloody good. Colapinto once again. Oh, sorry. Now Yuki Tsunoda, on the other hand, capitulated.
I know.
Is this going to be the issue for Yuki? Dan couldn't push him enough, and if anything, he thrived on getting on top of the experienced driver.
Yep.
And he was taking on an experienced driver that hasn't necessarily been in form for a few years.
Yeah.
And so it was a good chance to build his stocks up.
Yep.
This rookie's come in and has outraced him in this race. And we saw again some Yuki Tsunoda shenanigans where he could not believe that Lawson was coming out of the pit stop. Oh, sorry, he came out of his pit stop behind Lawson. And so it was an interesting situation. Sorry, Lawson pitted and came out in front of Yuki still. And it was an interesting situation where there's a little bit of, I'm cracking the shits here. I'm not happy. What on earth's happened?
Yep.
How can this be? And I just wonder whether we're going to see this become a bit of an undoing of Yuki Tsunoda.
Yep.
Temperament's going to be tested here. You watch.
Yours or?
His.
His.
Yuki's.
Yeah.
Yuki's.
I don't know it's an undoing. I think it looks a lot like just I think Lawson really had that emotion-charged...
Watch this space.
Motion-charged energy.
If Lawson gets on top of Yuki Tsunoda, it'll be his undoing.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't. Absolutely.
I don't. I think the emotion, the sort of fairy tale of the weekend, for him on his side, I think you're right in a lot of people saying that they would have loved to have seen him sort of fall flat on his face, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think the time away from the sports allowed sort of Dan fans to settle and heal a little bit, and then...
There'll be never healing.
No, but then suddenly he would have come out fired up and said, I can hear the noise, I can hear the negativity, you know what? Stuff it, I'm going for it. I really am. And you know what? Through the sprint and practice and quality, it looked for all intensive purposes like the chassis was the actual problem.
Yep.
But he was great. And I mean, last to ninth... Is ninth where the RB is? Probably not. You could have said last to 20th, and you could have confidently said, that's its rightful place. But I think those
not from last.
No, not from last.
I mean, he benefited from the hard tyre into the medium, but that's a lot of drivers.
Safety car only lasted a handful of laps, and I don't think that played any part in it.
It's a lot of drivers to have
There's
taken.
lots of positivity out of the weekend too, and I think I think the emotion for him would have said, his
qualifying was bloody good too.
Stuff this, I'm going for it.
His qualifying was top notch,
and he would have had that in the back of his mind that I need to leave this place, silencing critics, because. Like you even saw in the time over social media, just fans up and about it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Colapinto, another fine result.
My man, our man.
Is he? Ours.
Is
he ours, is he?
If you right now were James Vowles and you had a spare seat and you had Sainz or Colapinto...
Sainz every day of the week.
Are you still signing Sainz?
Absolutely every day of the week.
I kind of feel like I am too, but then there's no wrong choice in signing Colapinto either, is there?
No, but other than the fact you had Sainz available to you. But Colapinto is doing a great job. Don't let me, just because I answered Sainz, don't let me pretend that that's not a re-endorsement of Colapinto.
I know.
What sort of team isn't signing him at the moment when he's showing all of this? And then we can get lost in the Nick de Vries situation where you had the little honeymoon, but this is a consistent showing. The benefit is that Kick, Sauber, whatever they are, don't have to rush into their signature.
No.
But there is probably one little bit that might make them rush, and that might be a Red Bull going, excuse me, interested.
And I think when we talk about people like Colapinto too, once you would have thought, fair, first time out, you generally do pretty well in this sport.
Yep.
Can't think of too many first time out that have absolutely fallen flat on their face. It's either points or you're pretty close. I think that's fair to say.
Well, it's because not necessarily points, but it's easy to look good.
It's easy to look good in your first one. It's easy to look good. Couldn't name a basket full of people that have had a shocking first outing. Second time round, you'd go, okay, you got lucky, you got two.
I think there was a Russian.
Yeah,
Mazepin.
Third time round, you're going, is this, I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no. Now the jury's out. But now that you're ticking off fourth race, fifth race, sixth race, suddenly the narrative is, wow, where'd this kid come from? And I'm all about results pre the sport.
Yep.
But Colapinto has proven me wrong in every aspect. And I'm really happy to be proven wrong because I think he's wonderful. And as a personality of a driver, I really like his personality too. I really do. He's quite relaxed, quite easygoing. He's not in your face. He's not aggressive.
He's now ahead
He's approachable.
He's now ahead of the likes of Ocon, Lawson, unlucky, Zhou, Sargent, and Bottas already in our season. He's knocking on the door of Behrman.
Behrman only had one race, though.
Gasly.
Yep.
He must have more than one because he got 7 points.
Yeah.
He had a Ferrari race, didn't he, early on? And he's nearly at Magnussen levels already. So, very impressive.
Very impressive.
Anyone else you want to mention?
I just want to mention Gasly's qualifying. Because 7th was quite respectable.
It was. Yeah.
It was quite good.
Fell away really quickly.
It did fall away too. And I mean, just for conversation's sake, I don't know what Kick are doing. They're just, like we said, they've got fallen asleep, which is fine. And the Astons are just there now, just sitting back, and they're still sipping a martini, remembering that they've hired Adrian Newey. But
would would you sign him at Kick Sauber if you were in charge?
Colavento?
Yeah, if you were Mattia Benotto, who's now in charge of that lovely joint.
I think I would certainly offer it.
You're certainly looking at it, aren't you?
I'm certainly looking at it, but at the same token, I know that I am a brand new team and probably a young kid with a handful of races is not the best candidate.
It's not like he's driving for a well-established,
no, but then for
he
too, sometimes you can make that jump that is the wrong way. And right now, if he could go through the season and continue these next handful of races, points, pretty close, great qualifying, and then leave
to a Lawson,
suddenly you're a little bit more desirable. But if you do that and then you jump ship and you go to Audi, and we love that, and you fall flat on your face. Let's say, for conversation's sake, Audi make zero impact in their first year as a high-quality world manufacturer.
Next year's not their first year.
No, the year after. And then suddenly you're Zhou and you're Valtteri and you're coming home in 19th and you're like, geez, that can do a lot more harm to your brand than good. So if I was him, I think if I was Audi, I'd be offering it and asking the question. It might not be the first choice. It might be the second choice. But for he as a driver, he probably needs to take that into consideration. Be wanted.
You've almost got to you got to strike while the iron's hot, though.
But then we saw that with Albon last year, didn't we? And he didn't do anything, and now he's...
Albon?
Yeah.
What do you mean? He's got himself a long-term contract in a racing team. And that's like, you can't knock that back. I think if there's a drive available, you're taking the drive. There isn't a drive available at Williams for a little while. So you can't be hanging around the Williams team hoping for things to happen because both drivers are signed on for some time.
Yeah.
Well, Sainz, maybe not. Maybe Sainz is going somewhere, but yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Give us your 3, 2, and 1.
3, 2, and 1. I'm going to give 3 to Charles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Captain Obvious.
Yeah, 3 to Charles. I'm going to give 2 to Max.
Okay.
Because he really sort of grabbed that thing by the scruff of the neck and went, nah, not on my watch, not today.
Yep.
And then, I'm going to give 1 to Lawson. While last to 9th is first. It's first outing, so, like I said.
I was just like, I can't find Lawson on my sheet. That's because he hasn't raced yet. Yeah, I'm not too far away from you on this one.
Yep.
I'm going, 3 points to Lawson. I think Lawson was just stunning. So, 3 points to Lawson.
Yep.
I'm happy with 2 points for Max. I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I think it was,
he did. He sort of, he flexed his muscle a little bit.
Yeah.
If he can...
Yep. And it's not like everything's going his way at the moment.
It's not. But it's almost like he realised and thought, I've got to dig. I've got to find an extra 10% here.
It's probably done enough now.
I think he has to
probably see it home.
Yep.
And probably most of that is just getting confidence back that the team can continue to pick up good points.
I think it's the other people, like we've talked about a lot.
Yep.
It's the ability for other people to get in the way.
Yep.
And I think the Ferraris did him a massive favour on the weekend too by getting in the way.
Yep.
Like if he finishes second and Lando finishes first, then okay, we're going maybe. But they did what Mercedes are going to do. Mercedes are going to do it in somewhere like Qatar.
Yep.
George is going to get in the way, and Oscar's going to be on it one weekend, and he's going to get in the way. And you know what? The way the season is going, it wouldn't put it past me if we found some sort of really bizarre situation where we went to Abu Dhabi, and suddenly it might sort of half be on, and then out of nowhere, from the depths of wherever, Perez comes out, and it's like, hang on.
This is where I stand up.
I might just win this one.
Yeah.
And we'll be going, what? Where have you been? It's that type of season. But, we've got to remember the runners around it. And I think, you know what? I think Max is aware of that too. He sort of recognises, I don't need to win all these. Other people are going to kind of do the heavy lifting for me. That's what Ferrari did on the weekend too. But we still celebrate with a 1-2 Ferrari, which is brilliant.
Yep. All right. So that's 4 points for each of the drivers because I'm giving my last point to Charles Leclerc as well.
Okay, that's fair.
So each driver got 4 points to 3 of them.
That's
there
nice.
You go. Let's go to Dud of the Day.
Dud of the Day. Wow. Dud of the Day. First, I'm just going to have a couple of
You have
of the days
been
here.
like this recently.
I know, because I know that I went through
It's
weeks where I had none and I let people down significantly. First of all, Hero of the Hour into Dud of the Day. The trophies that we were allegedly going to get, so these sort of vinyl designer toys that were like these huge bears or whatever.
Oh, they were bears.
They were different. They were cool.
No, they weren't cool.
They were
cool.
different. They were cool and they were different.
I didn't like
that.
them.
I loved them. I thought they were fantastic. And then, so Hero of the Hour, I love that. That's awesome. Into Dud of the Day, where are they?
They weren't special enough.
They weren't presented. They weren't presented due to copyright that they look a little bit too much like another product. And in America, everyone loves to sue each other. And there was alleged to have been, and I haven't done a huge amount of homework on this, but there was alleged to have been a copyright infringement.
So what did they get on the podium?
So they got the tyre, like the qualifying tyre. They had a heap of these spare qualifying pole position tyres that you get,
kidding.
and that's what you got. But I follow McLaren on Instagram, like a lot of people will, and Pato O'Ward took a photo of himself with that trophy. So I wonder
if the trophy
they weren't allowed to present it. They're not allowed to show it because of this alleged copyright infringement. But then the teams behind the back of the paddock have just gone, here's the good ones that we got. So anyway, that's my Hero of the Hour into Dud of the Day. Like, you promise is great things.
Good story.
Do your homework. Thank you. Do your homework beforehand. And my other Dud of the Day is Alpine for their special livery, which was awful.
It was, yeah.
And it was Indiana Jones inspired for what I saw reported as the first time a video game has ever been used. That's 100% false. Williams did the Sega, so that is false fact checking from those high profile media outlets that have mentioned that. No, it is not the first time that a video game has been used as a livery or a sponsor. But it just looked like a McLaren.
Shit McLaren.
It just looked like a crap McLaren.
Yeah.
Anyway, honourable mention as well to the McLaren livery as Hero of the Hour as well. Just roll on.
Okay, yeah.
Brilliant. How good was the chrome?
Yeah.
It's proper chrome.
It's
proper.
You know what?
It's proper chrome. I loved it.
I've got special livery burnout.
Yeah, but I didn't really pay attention to Alpine.
No. It's not really special anymore when there's a different livery per race.
You used to say that about Seb with his helmets.
Remember when they used to... No, I don't know if I used to say it, but remember when they used to say that about helmets? And that no one could tell who they were. So I don't mind the helmets changing around so much.
Yeah.
But all these special liveries are not that special anymore.
No.
I'm just finding them to be a little bit, rightio.
Yep.
Like, whatever. So anyway, my dud of the day is just the FIA and the Austin track.
Yeah.
Get gravel in there and make it happen. This is getting tiresome.
I know.
Pay some money. It's a big buck sport. Put some bikes on there and make the bikes make as much money as what you're making out of this, and then come and talk to me, or just pay the money to take the bitumen out and put it back in. It is not acceptable.
I know.
So anyway, that's my dud of the day. My hero of the hour.
Yeah.
Broadcasters. Guess what they've done?
What have they done?
So you know how annoyed I get when they go to a start replay.
Yes.
Far too early in the race.
We had a safety car, so we were fortunate enough, weren't we?
No, but in the sprint race I saw it.
Oh, yep.
So usually they go and there's still racing happening, and it annoys me to death. Like, there's plenty of dead spots in races you can show the start. I don't need to see it straight away.
Yep.
They've went to a start replay, and guess what they had in the top left corner?
What do they have?
A live action box on the screen.
I like that.
It's not new. This has been around for a long time, but they've managed to bring it to Formula 1. And so I could watch the racing.
Yep.
And I could see the replays. It was the perfect world. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Here are the broadcasters.
Did you notice the extreme lack of graphics on the weekend, which was kind of refreshing?
You brought that up last week.
Yeah, I just noticed that we've really pared it back. It was really refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't pay any attention to the Halo graphic when they put that up.
I don't either, but it just irritates me because I just want to...
but I'm with you. So what I'm saying is,
it's
useless to us. So yes, you should be able to watch a...
I just don't watch it without it. I just don't want to see graphic. That's all. That's my thing.
F1.5, did you do it?
F1.5, I did do it. Now, I know. Now, we've had the inclusion now of Lawson. So we've got sort of three... Oh, I need to stick with this here.
Hang on.
Oh, boy. So thanks to Red Bull, we have just had just a sort of season of just, oh, my God, what's going on? Where are we going? All right. Bear with me here, because there's a lot going on. What I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to rattle through how I've listed it in order, and then we'll just revise who the top three are.
Okay.
All right? That's what we're going to do. I'm just going to go as I go through. All right, so...
Seems like a compromise, and I appreciate that.
I know, thank you. Let's touch on Sargent, finishing on 65. Rest in peace, Logan. All right.
Who?
Logan Sargent.
Who's that?
So Colapinto's task was to finish the season higher than 65, and as of this weekend, 1, 2, 3... 3 races in, he's done it.
He's done it. Logan Sargent.
In 3.
Winner of the offside way category. Congratulations.
That's the equivalent of straight sets. That's the equivalent of a first ball duck.
Logan Sargent, you are a new world loser.
Is a maiden hat trick over in cricket. It's just it's phenomenal. So he's done it in 3.
Well done.
So Colapinto's on 66 at the moment. Lawson has got a little bit of a higher mountain to climb because Dan finished the season, in air quotes, on 204.
And am I wrong in thinking he was 3rd or 4th in our F1.5 championship?
Yes, he was.
Before he was retired.
So I'm just going to leave him there because I think it's important just to have him as a bit of a benchmark.
I like that.
For where he was because he was podium.
Good.
He was on the podium for
and you never know,
bit.
he might come back.
That's right. He had 3 weeks on the podium, so we need to leave him there as a comparison to. All right, so Colapinto's done his job. Everything now is just icing on top because he's 66. Lawson comes in. He's got 18 on his first outing, but he needs to hit 204. I don't think that's actually mathematically possible, to be quite honest.
Right.
So, yeah. But we'll see how close he gets for that, too. Alrighty. Gasly is on 196. Ocon is also on 196.
Wow, really? The teammates are even.
Yep. Dan's on 204. Tsunoda's on 241. Bottas is on 109.
Oh, yep. I forgot you're doing this all over the job.
Yep, I am, and then I'll go back through. Zhou's on 114. Albon's on 205, so he's just gone one ahead of Dan. Colapinto's 66. Hulkenberg, 2 back-to-back wins, for me, has now all but sewn it up.
I think so.
All but sewn
I think so.
Barring disaster, which would be 4 DNFs.
That ain't happening.
I think he's home.
Congratulations.
Let's not just get too excited yet, because now in this season we could very well have 4 DNFs.
Congratulations, Nico Hulkenberg. He's not having that many DNFs.
I'm just saying.
And then someone in contention winning it all.
So 310 he's on.
Yeah.
310. So he's 95.
There is more
He's
chance.
105. So no, he's not. He's 60. He's 59. He's 69 ahead at the moment. So it's pretty much done.
It's about as much chance.
It's about as much done as possible. And K-Mag actually picked up 12 on the weekend, so 189. So the top 3 looks like this. It's Hulkenberg in the lead on 310. It's Yuki Tsunoda in second place on 241. And then Albon has taken over third from a retired, air quotes, Dan Ricciardo on 205. Otherwise it would have been Dan. Anyway, that is F1.5.
There you go. Fantastic.
All the way.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
Well,
Fantasy.
do we have to ask
Fantasy.
who's coming second, do you think, in F1.5?
Probably Yuki's done enough.
Probably
Yuki's done enough.
The capitulation worries me. I feel like there's going to be a falling away. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
I'm not convinced in Yuki. I think
Okay.
Yuki could be in some trouble.
All right, that's fine.
Yes, fantasy.
Fantasy, thanks to Chris at
You
Dr.
seem too
Auto
positive. We might move
Art.
on.
No, I'm all right. I'm all right.
No, I'm worried that you might have scored too well.
I've done all right, but I haven't seen where you've been because we've been too busy on the weekend, and it's America, so I know where I am. But you could very well have beat me on the weekend, or it could be pretty close. Thanks to Chris at Dr. Auto Art, who has fantastic artworks. It's very close to Christmas. It's been close to Christmas for a month. I fully recognise that. But get around his Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, email subscriptions as well for discounts. Chris does a wonderful job. And just a plethora of motorsport now. It's well beyond F1. There's MotoGP, there's NASCAR, there's all that kind of stuff. Drivers, chassis, current,
helmets,
historic helmets, all that kind of stuff. Thanks to Chris for being a fantastic sponsor of the show this year, and our top 3 place getters in a few months' time will reach out to you. So if that is you, you need to keep in touch with us, or you actually need to start getting in touch with us if you are probably in the top 5, because we want to know who you are. We need you to be able to get in touch with us. We need you to get in touch with Chris so that we can make sure we can organise that. But thanks again, Chris, for being a wonderful sponsor of our show. Let's dive into the round so far, and we're going to go all the way down to the United States Grand Prix, and our leaderboard for this round looks a little bit like this. Our top 10 is Stephen Kennedy with Gunter Haas departed. I like that. Activated his Limitless and finished the weekend on 410. So a nice outing. 42 from Sainz, 55 from Charles, 76 from Max, 38 from George, 30 from Lando, 97 from Ferrari, and 72 from Red Bull. So that's a tidy use of the Limitless on a sprint weekend.
Do we have any more sprint weekends coming up?
I think we've got one more, yes.
Brazil?
I think so, yeah. Roman Mirik used his extra DRS for a triple points on Lando and comes home in second place for the round on 358. Gavin Fenner, 322 in third. Simon Leng in fourth place along with AJ Ferguson on 314. David Rojas, 313. Chloe Anderson, 310 in 7th. Chris Holt on 302. Laws Van der Wies and your good self tied on 9th on 298. And in 11th place for Utz, 47, which is kind of 10th, 297. You were 10 more than me on the weekend. You scored 298 and I scored 288.
You're an embarrassment.
So that's where we are, finished 16th. That's the round of the United States Grand Prix. And if we are going all the way to our overall leaderboard, thanks to Chris, it's Laws Van der Wies leading all comers on 4,480. Dean Holt in second, 4,386. So a bit of a gap there. Chloe Anderson, 4,371. Roman Mirik, 4,346. David Rojas in 5th on 4,280. Andy Tails, 4,197. Jolien Dyer, 4,174. Fariz Hafiz on 4,151. I have gone up a place, and I am 9th on 4,015, but in the exact same position as me is Nicola Taylor. We are level place on 9th on 4,015 apiece.
Wow.
So that is where we're looking at. Adam Hughes had a little bit of a shocker and drops down into 11th, but not by much. It's 4,008. But if I'm looking at me and Nicola's team, just for conversation's sake, I have got Lando, Oscar, Valtteri, Albon, Colapinto, McLaren and Ferrari. And Nicola has Lando. Nicola has exactly the same thing, but instead of Oscar, she's got George.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyway, that's where we are for fantasy for this week. But thanks again to Chris.
Just an interesting fact.
Yes,
where do you think Liam Lawson, what price do you think he came in at?
What price did he get to come in at?
Yes. Well, what price is he sitting at now? So he's gone up by $500,000.
Yeah.
What price would you guess he'd come in at?
Oh, gee, we talked about this the other week, didn't we? It was like a stupid price. I would say Lawson, who hasn't actually raced in the sport for 5 or 6, you would think the team he's coming into, like you're probably confident of points. He'd say, I'm going to say 6.9.
10.
Stupid.
Point
Don't even finish that number.
He started at
10.2.
He's gone up to 10.7, which is evidently more than what Yuki is. He's worth more than Yuki Tsunoda.
Yikes.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, he's picked up 20 points already, and Yuki Tsunoda's only on 45 points for the season. So it somewhat makes sense, I guess. But yeah, anyway, it's an interesting one. Any news?
No.
No, there is. Toyota. What else do we get news-wise? Feels like we're missing something.
Yep.
I can't think of what it is,
I can't think of what it is either.
No. Yeah. Mexico's next.
Mexico. It is Fernando's.
Who?
Fernando. The great man.
What's that? Fernando who? Yeah. It is Fernando's 400th.
400th.
We mentioned this at the start of the program, didn't we?
Yep.
Ah, okay.
400th.
Yep.
A phenomenal achievement from a great individual. Predictions for his finish placing is 400th. I'm going to say win. No, I'm not. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Hey, 400th Grand Prix is fantastic. And he's still at the top of his game. Yeah.
He's not at the top of his game.
He is at the top of his game. Nothing to bring me down. It's celebration week. It's 400. We're going to have a special.
Fernando Alonso.
Let's do a special mini ep, right? On the greatness of Fernando Alonso.
I'm in, but I don't know when we're going to get it done, but I'm in. Why didn't you come up with that when we were looking for an episode mid-long break?
Because I didn't know it was happening until it sort of, he's been around for that long, so...
There you go.
Yeah, it's just all it's...
Yeah, no, it's... you like Mexico, though?
I do like it, yeah.
If it went from Formula One, would you be disappointed?
I wouldn't even... Yeah, I wouldn't be like... I wouldn't turn up to work the next week. I'd be like, no, it was the final Mexico. I'd be like, Mexico got dropped.
It's a funny one. I love that we go there because it's Mexico. It's a place in the world that is iconic.
Yep.
I would love to go to this race.
Yep.
I say this a lot. I'd love to go to this race, but it's okay as a racetrack. It produces something every now and then. Yeah. This is now hard. What's your prediction?
Oh.
Like Ferrari's just gone and had a really solid win.
The high altitude is going to play a part.
It is.
But to be quite honest, considering
you don't know who.
every weekend with who's got the bait, I don't know who it's going to impact.
No.
We could sit here, and again, this is the beauty of the
season. All right, I'll tell you who won't be strong, and then I might be regretting.
I tell you who's regretting playing ball and taking their mini DRS off their wing. That's McLaren. Because if you're going to go somewhere high altitude and you can have a mini DRS, they'll be looking at that going, maybe we shouldn't have been so nice about it. Which we said at the start.
I think the next place.
Brazil's high altitude too. Anyway, look, the Red Bull works incredibly efficient in high altitude. So you know what? I'm going to say Max will return. It might not be this weekend. It could be next weekend. It could be this weekend. But I think over the next 2 weekends, one of those two Max will win. Yep. And I just the Red Bull is highly efficient in high altitude. We've known that. It's part of its characteristics as well. So that's good. The Mercedes is also quite good in high altitude too. So I'm going to just play a little bit of the long game here. I'm going to go Max is going to win one of the two. I think we're going to see a Mercedes win across one of the two. But I probably would say Ferrari would come home second and third. I think Ferrari are the best because of the characteristics of the Mexico circuit. McLaren will be on song at Brazil.
Yeah, and I feel like McLaren's going to actually be on song here too.
I don't think here. I think Ferrari are going to... I don't think Ferrari are going to not be on song in Brazil, but I think it's just not going to suit their package. But then we'll go to Qatar, and I think Ferrari will bounce back there.
Well, so I think there's also Vegas in there.
That's yeah. Yeah.
I think they'll be good in Vegas, but I don't think we'll see them until then.
Don't sleep on Ferrari.
For me, it's a Norris or Piastri comeback here. I think.
Yep.
I think I feel like they've got the overall package at the moment. Red Bull like it a certain way at the moment. I think McLaren the overall, so I'll go with them for a result here. But until then,
that's it. Thanks, nice to return. Thanks to everyone.
It is, yeah. It's great to be back. Sorry about
the episode.
Keep an eye out for
Fan Frenzy.
for the when we have to start apologising for the episode. I
know, but I feel rusty. We were rusty. That was a nice, short, sharp one for this week.
A bit like the stewards.
Everyone will be happy to hear from us. But thanks, everyone. Looking forward to the next triple header.
Absolutely, and goodbye now.